Hello, beautiful mama. Welcome to Navigating Motherhood with Confidence. I'm Dr. Sarah Hardy, naturopathic doctor, mother, and creator of VitalityNaturalHealth.ca. This program supports informed, intuitive mothering by providing reliable information on a variety of family health topics and featuring moms who are nourishing the connection with their inner wisdom and integrating it into real life every day. In episode 11, I'm thrilled to welcome Jac McNeil, thought partner and strategic ally for women entrepreneurs, to chat about how she nourishes the connection with her inner wisdom and integrates it into real life every day.
Welcome, everyone, to Navigating Motherhood with Confidence, episode 11. I am so thrilled today to welcome Jac McNeil.
Thank you for having me. This is a lot of fun. It's so good to connect with you today and share some thoughts and ideas that I've learned and experienced along the way. So thanks for having me.
You're welcome. We're going to just jump right into things. And I wanted to check in with you today, Jac, about your favorite practice for nourishing the connection with your inner wisdom. What's sort of your go-to?
Definitely, it has to involve nature and usually my dog. So I'm an introvert. I really crave and need a lot of spaciousness in my day. And so little quick things like just stepping outside and drinking my coffee on the deck when it's warm, or going for a walk or gardening. There's something for me that's very grounding about being outside, away from technology, and just touching in with my intuition, sort of doing kind of a scan of my body. What's here right now? What am I noticing? Where am I feeling connected? Where am I feeling disconnected? And just kind of being in that space and paying a lot of attention. But nature definitely is kind of my go-to for reconnecting in with that inner wisdom.
Absolutely. And I feel like that's sort of been, as I mentioned, this is episode number 11. It's sort of been a theme that's been strung through with all of the women that I've spoke with. You know, there's slightly different practices that they're doing along the way, but nature is a huge theme. And it's sort of intuitive in that nature has her own rhythm and consistency and that sort of thing. So how wonderful that we're drawn out into that to help us connect with our inner wisdom.
Absolutely. I think that's, it's so interesting that you can see that theme emerge. Obviously, there's something there for all of us to be paying attention and checking in with. And I'm noticing even as you use the word practice, I think to myself, ooh, do I do something consistently? Is it scheduled in? Is it a practice? And it isn't really for me. There's kind of a lot of different things that I do, but I think there's that golden thread of what supports it, what's the platform for me to kind of connect in with it. But day to day, it looks different for me.
Yeah. And so as a mom, I know that both your girls are in school now. But so maybe we can sort of check in with sort of as a mom as things are now, but then also as a mom when they were more sort of home full time with you, how those types of practices integrate into life as a mom.
So my girls are 8.5 and 11.5. So one's going into junior high in September. We will not talk about that. No, I'm good. I'm good with that. She's ready. I'm proud. And then I have this redheaded 8.5-year-old. Both have really beautiful and strong personalities. But yeah, it's very different now than it was when I was first starting my business and I had a 3-year-old, a 2-year-old actually, and I was just newly pregnant. And then that, those first few years when they were home, they needed me more. They weren't as independent. So my time was mostly around caring for them and then finding ways to, I was already self-employed, finding ways to get my work done. And there were choices that I made along the lines to sometimes work in the evenings when they were in bed. Sometimes, once I moved back from Calgary back here to Nova Scotia, was to put my youngest into childcare 3 days a week and be okay with that. say that this is important to her, for her development. It's important for me, for my business development and getting things off the ground. But now, kind of fast forward to where we are now, they're so independent, and we still spend a lot of time together. I've had always a list of what I call non-negotiables in terms of my time, and creating protection around when I want to do my work and how I want to do that, and how I want to show up as a mom. So meeting them off the bus every day, and having shorter work days. And so now that they're getting older, they're really independent. They want play dates after school, so I actually naturally have more time to do my work. But all through that, what was most important to me was to find time where I could be by myself, where I could process and have some time just within introspective time, where I wasn't parenting or taking care of other needs. I now have a lot more of that than I used to, but that was always really important to me. One of the questions I started asking along the way is, what's one thing today that I will do for myself, just for me, just one thing? And that might just be coffee by myself for half an hour, or it could be a walk with my dog without anyone around, or it could be something with my family. But that question always had an answer. There's always one thing that I could do for myself and find a way to make that happen in the day. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
And as a mom, we're asking ourselves that, it's sort of, taking a breath and kind of grounding ourselves before that question, because sometimes it's our mind that answers the question. And so it's, what can I do for myself today? Well, of course, I can spend some time with my kids, and, that feels nourishing to me. And or I could spend some time working on this aspect of my business that does feel really nourishing to me. Is that sort of the deep down truth? You mentioned early on the introvert aspect of things, and that need for some spaciousness and some quiet and some time on your own to kind of process and integrate things. And so often as moms, we just we either dismiss that or feel guilty for needing it and wanting it.
Mm-hmm. I made the connection pretty early on in my business that I couldn't do both at once. So I couldn't try, when my little ones were little, I couldn't try to do stuff on the computer and also parent them at the same time. That never worked. So I think also, so I realized that early on, that there had to be, separate space, but also when you're asking yourself, what's that one thing I can do, and how not to feel guilty about it, I knew the other connection I made early on is when I did do something that was just for me, even if it was small, like once they go to bed, I have 2 hours of, Netflix I can watch with some chips. But yeah, that's gonna be that's like my party as an introvert. Yes. That when I allowed myself, when I actually gave myself permission and was intentional about that, I showed up better through the rest of the day with my kids, because I knew that I, was going to make sure that I was taking care of me too. That's a long-winded way to say all that. I hope that makes sense.
Yes, no, it totally does. It totally does. And it's that shift in our thought process almost.
Yeah.
Taking that time on my own is time away from my kids, it's time away from my business, all that guilt wrapped up in it. Or time away on my own means that I'm feeling more nourished, which means that I can better connect with my kids, or feel more confident in that connection and interaction, and feel more confident in that connection and interaction with my business and how it's going.
Agreed.
So I'm wondering if you might introduce us to, and maybe guide us through a process that you might use for yourself here and there, sort of that one of those processes that has that tie through nature, or that connection through the rhythm of nature, or another one that would be helpful for us to experience today.
Well, I think when it comes to nature, for me, it's not anything that I do. It's more of a being. It's get myself outside and do what I want to do, whether that's gardening or walking. But one of the kind of fun, playful things that I'll do, more so to connect in with my intuition and, you know, kind of always scanning for what's here for me right now. You know, what am I learning right now? What's got my attention? What's got my energy? What should I be, what would serve me to pay attention to? And so playfully, I love to use oracle cards. And I'm not like this, you know, super mystical person, but I actually find them quite pragmatic. And so there's a couple of decks, if you're willing to kind of do this with me, it's fun and easy. You can do it on your own or with friends. I got together with one of my best friends in January. We're thinking about what's our word for the year? What do we really want for ourselves this year? And then we kind of did this oracle spread, and it was just so fun and lighthearted, but very interesting. And we were staying curious to the information that was kind of showing up and making whatever meaning we wanted to of that. So my favorite oracle deck is this one. Can you see that? It's called the Enchanted Map. And I also have a second favorite oracle card deck called the Soul Space Oracle, which one of my clients who's an art therapist, she just developed this amazing course all about micro self-care. And I love the course, recommend it for everyone. It's just about putting micro bits of self-care into your day. And for me, it was a real perspective shift. But her cards are really beautiful. So she did painting on all of her cards, and they have powerful words. So what I'm going to do with you today, though, is we're going to ask a question, kind of just put it out there to the universe. And it's going to be, you know, a powerful open-ended question. So you can decide what it is, but it could be something like, what's important for me to notice right now? Or what's the universe want me to pay attention to? Or what am I supposed to be learning right now? Those kinds of questions. So anything that you want to ask. Could be around like, what's my next steps?
Yeah. You know what, when that first question that you used, Jack, the sort of, what do I need to notice, or what can I notice right now? That was
okay.
That got me.
Okay, so I'm just gonna go inward here. I'm gonna shuffle the deck, and then I'm gonna lay them out. And I'm just gonna run my fingers.
Number that you usually lay out when you're doing this with yourself?
You can do lots of different things. I usually just ask one question, pull one card, kind of on a daily basis. It's kind of a fun, interesting theme for the day to notice. And sometimes I'll actually do like a 3-card spread, and I'll ask something about what was my past, you know, about recently, what was happening there, what's current for me, and then what my next step might be. And each one of those can kind of give me some insights. So I'm just going to run my fingers over these and just energetically pick a card for you. Sometimes a card will stick out or fall out, and I often find that in a playful way, I'll say, oh, that's the card the universe wanted me to have. Like it's really grabbing my attention. So there's one here that's actually sticking out as I spread the cards. And when you pull the cards, you can either pull them the correct way, or you can pull them in reverse. And in this particular deck, there's a little book that comes with it. It has different meanings depending on which way. So I pulled this card for you, and it's called Protecting Treasure. You able to have can you see that? It's really pretty. So there's this girl with an umbrella in the rain laying on this beautiful chest in this kind of magical forest area. So I'm going to let you know what that means, this card, and then we're going to just see what resonates for you about that.
Sure.
See, it's fun already.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Protecting Treasure card, it says you are always protected and divinely directed. Although this is a time of great risk, know that at a fundamental level, you are able to move forward safely and securely. The proverbial nest egg is safe and sound, no matter the fluctuations in the world.
Wow.
Guardian angels and other guides are whispering to you. making you aware of their protective presence. Your loyalty is an important theme now. Nurture that which you hold dear. This is a good time to strengthen bonds of friendship and ensure their integrity. If you feel tested right now, know that a true and loyal heart always achieves its aim. Take refuge under an angel's wing. You are not alone and have no need to fear. Embrace your courage.
Wow. There's a lot in that.
Yeah.
And I feel like, where that intention, Jac, for you, was to pull a card and for you and I to have a conversation about it, that there's that potential for any mom who's listening to this conversation to be, with all of that detail, to connect with some aspect of it. So if you're listening, I encourage you to kind of rewind back to when Jac started reading the card and notice what your connection feels like to any part of that, and then continue with the rest of the process with us, because I've had that experience too with oracle cards where someone draws it for the group, and so I feel like if you're here and listening right now, that there's probably some connection and some meaning there for you too.
Yeah, absolutely. So for me, this is not about oracle cards like predicting the future or giving us, exact next steps. Everything is open to interpretation. So it's almost just here's a little nugget. And what are you curious about? What feels resonant to you? What spoke to you? What's the meaning that you give that card? So I know it was a lot, but just as, kind of as I was sharing that with you, what meaning came up for you, or what might have resonated for you?
What I think that the biggest factor that came up for me, or the biggest sort of theme that came up for me through that, was sort of in processes of change.
Mm-hmm.
That I feel like for me as a mom and as a business owner, there's always things shifting and changing. Because it's a process of life. And sometimes when things, certain things are shifting and changing, there are more fears that come up or more worries that come up, anxiousness about certain aspects of how that process is shifting and changing things. So it's that aspect of sort of the unpredictability or the unknown aspect of change, but having that reassurance of, while things are shifting and changing, while this process feels risky, there's that reassurance of protection and support.
So oftentimes what I notice is that we can be reminded of something we already know. That these cards, the resonance is that, oh, right, I knew that, and now I'm being reminded of that, and that feels affirming for me. So it's really about connecting in with what you already know, but sometimes we need, little pushes to do that, and little insights to be able to go, oh, right, I'm going to reconnect. I see that now. I forgot that about myself, or I know that's true. And so these cards can be, they're meant to be fun and encouraging, and really for you to stay curious about them. What the meaning is. You get to give it whatever meaning or not. Sometimes I pull a card and I go, you know what? I'm not feeling that. But I don't ever try to pull another card right away to get a better answer, because then this is a weird belief I have that it's like the universe will just send me to all these silly places. I pulled the card, that's what it was. Take that information and do with what you want, and not try to manipulate it or whatever.
Sure.
So yeah.
So sometimes there's that big sort of yes, oh yeah, I needed to read that or tell myself that or remind myself of that today. And other times it's the maybe not, but I'm going to hold that sort of in my awareness. Maybe something will come up as the day progresses. something that I found really interesting when I've done this for myself in the past is when if I were to pull a card and I have that like, ooh, you know, this, no, definitely not. And there's something there too of, you know, what's creating that ick.
Yes, I think so. I think sometimes we have like a preconceived idea of what we want the message to be, and if it's really different from what we've attached ourselves to, then we can kind of want to resist that. So really, you know, I keep coming back to the word curious, but that's what it is. So what am I resisting here? You know, oh, this card had a yuck feeling. What's that about? You know, where else is this yuck feeling showing up? What else am I resisting? Or where else am I trying to force meaning where there doesn't need to be, you know, such big meaning about something? So they're just great, you know, prompts really for being curious about your experience.
Absolutely. And what I really like about it too is with, like you say, those sort of prompts for getting curious, you know, potentially that sort of connection to feeling that it brings up in us, all ways, sort of those quiet ways that our inner wisdom speaks to us, where sort of the noise up in our heads can get so loud some days that I feel like a tool like this sort of helps us to zone in a little bit in a different kind of way than, you know, a visualization or a meditation or all of those other fantastic tools do. It's just a different door to enter into that space.
Yeah, that's it. That's a great metaphor. It's just a different doorway into learning more and understanding yourself in different ways. So, yeah.
Fantastic. And so I imagine with this type of process that it could really take any length of time that you're willing and able to set aside for it. So it could be a short few minutes of exploration. It could be, you know, a longer process of sort of really sitting with it and maybe doing some journaling or things like that.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, you know, for me, I've never really loved journaling. And so from, you know, even though I'm introverted, I do process by talking things out, or just by kind of thinking about them and just kind of noticing things intuitively. So I don't tend to sit down and journal with them, but you absolutely could. You could do a lot more with it. You could do art with it, you know, if you like to be creative. And, you know, you pull a card and it has some meaning for you in some way, and then you can express that creatively or visually, or, you know, writing a poem about that. I mean, it really is a doorway or a prompt into deeper discovery. Or it's just a fun card, right? You know, that you pull it and you go, oh, that's cool. And then you go on with the rest of your day. So yeah, you can decide how you want to use the oracle cards.
Absolutely. So fantastic. I am so thankful to have you in my life, and that we were able to connect in this way and support moms that are listening and watching. I'm wondering, Jac, if there's something that you might want to offer to the moms that are watching the video that might support them in their journey, either as a mom or as a business owner, or maybe both.
Well, I know because I work with a lot of moms who are business owners and leaders, and moms work so hard, and because we tend to culturally and just instinctively put the needs of our loved ones mostly ahead of our own, that then there's a cost to that. So most of us are learning, how do I fit myself in there? Because it is better for my family when I do. So most of us are making that leap to go, right, yeah, there's a connection when I take care of my own needs, as well as the needs of my family. There's a better impact here. So I created something a few years ago called the Solopreneur Sojourn, because I love leading retreats, live in-person retreats. And I wanted a way for women to be able to have a self-guided experience, so create a retreat experience in their own way, whether that's from the comfort of their own home and little bits through a period of days, or whether they actually go away and rent a cabin and create, this ambiance in nature. And the retreat kit is designed for women entrepreneurs or people who are thinking about running a business. And there are a combination. It's a PDF that you download like a book if you want to print it off, or you can just look at it on your tablet. It's very visually pretty. There's lots of drawing and art in there. There's music. There are recorded visualizations. There are lots of worksheets and different activities that people can do. And it's a combination. It was described as smart and heart, in that it's very pragmatic and practical. There are things that you can do to get clear about things in your business and get into action and accountability. But it's also very spiritual and sacred and connecting in with yourself and your soul and what you really want. And so, and there's recipes. I had Marie Tower did these beautiful, she's a registered holistic nutritionist. She put together some very delicious recipes. So, people can plan this retreat and make it as special as they want to. So it's very inclusive and very comprehensive and multi-sensory. So there's activities to be out in nature where you have to leave, the comfort of your home or cabin. There's music, there's movement. So yeah, it's multi-sensory and a combination of very pragmatic and very sacred. And what I want to do, what I'm doing is gifting this to anyone who's really interested, that's listening in and says, you know what, I'd love to have this retreat experience. They can email you, Sarah, and tell you that. And then you can provide them with the link that they can download the retreat kit. So.
Oh my goodness. So generous and so exciting for moms who are listening to have that resource. I'm so excited.
And I do have a new website coming, like anything, this website's a few years old, and I have new services and just new ways of describing the work that I do. So that should be launching, I think, about June 17th. So it'll still be at jacmcneil.com, but it'll be a brand new experience in terms of understanding the work that I do. So
awesome. So what I'll also do is I'll have a separate link below this video for folks to click on that connects to your website. If they're curious of exploring sort of where things are at right now, but also connecting with you, whether it be through your Facebook page or through a sign up on your website, so that they can see that evolution and see where you're going and see if what you're offering is going to support them in their process.
Yeah, that would be great. I'm gonna the list of my newsletter list. If people want to sign up for that, they'll receive a free download on personal power, which I think is really relevant for everyone, whether you're an entrepreneur or thinking about it or not. It's just for women in general. And that will be where I'll make the announcements about the new website as well. So, yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for being a part of
We get to play with oracle cards. I mean, who wouldn't want to do that on a Thursday morning?
So much fun, and I am always so loving of chatting with you, and so thankful that you were able to create this space in your day to be with us. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. All right, take care.
Take care. Okay. Bye, everybody. See you next time.
Thank you for joining us today, beautiful mama. For additional resources to nourish the connection with your inner wisdom, visit vitalitynaturalhealth.ca and sign up for the Navigating Motherhood with Confidence free 21-day program. It guides you through a variety of practices and the ways you can integrate them into your life every day. With love, until next time.